Thank you. Very good evening to all of you. कैसे सब लोग? क्या बात है? Able to see the new participant Loga Sundar. Mr. Loga Sundar, you were not there. I think it's day 1. Isan, Komal, Bhumika, Kiran, Darshan, Rajiv, Subham, Manisha Diksha, Susil, Sankaran, everyone. Very good evening. तो चलो सर स्टार्ट करते हैं आज का डिस्कशन. टुडे टॉपिक इज द रजिस्ट्रेशन. The registration is in the GST when we need to take the registration in the GST, when it is not required or when it is mandatory. The 3 things we have to complete. We will try to complete 3 things today. When we need to take registration, then we will talk about when it is mandatory to take registration, and third, when you are not required to take registration. These are the 3 things which we are going to cover today. Kavita, Farah, Sayyad, Hira, Chanchal, everyone, good evening. So, the first point, that if your aggregate turnover, see, today we are going to cover, try to cover section 22, section 23 and section 24. These 3 things we are going to cover. These 3 provisions we are going to cover. The first provision, that section 22. Okay. Section 22 is basically the requirement for taking the registration when your turnover exceeds the prescribed limit. What is the prescribed limit? They are prescribing 20 lakh rupees if your aggregate turnover. Point to be noted, the word is being aggregate turnover. Can you quickly reply what is the aggregate turnover? Because it has already been covered. It has already been covered. Can you quickly tell me what is the aggregate turnover? And if your aggregate turnover exceed the prescribed limit, what is the prescribed limit? 20 lakh rupees, then you need to take registration. In every state? No, sir. In the state from where you are making the taxable supply. 3 things are important in the 22 subsection 1. What is the important thing? That first, your aggregate turnover should exceed 20 lakh. Then you need to take the registration in the state or UT from where you are making the taxable supplies. Why they are talking about other than special category state? Because they are saying for the special category state, the limit is 10 lakh rupees. आप लोग मुझे quickly बताएं कि aggregate turnover का मतलब क्या होता है? What is the meaning of aggregate turnover? What is the meaning of aggregate turnover? Bhumika, the answer would be incorrect because 86B not applicable to the composite. The composite dealer has to pay everything from cash. They cannot use the ITC at all. So the point of 99% ITC, 1% cash is not there for the composition because composition cannot take the ITC. So the 86B would not have any relevance on the composition. Correct? So क्या मतलब है? Still, it appears that you are not clear about the aggregate turnover. It appears that you are not clear about the aggregate turnover. Requesting everyone, please confirm what is the meaning of aggregate turnover. Please confirm what is the meaning of aggregate turnover. Oh my God, including taxes, excluding exempt supply, turnover of the whole previous year. We'll discuss. ठीक है, एक बार आते हैं आगे आते. So, fine. We will have the separate slide on the aggregate turnover, calculation of aggregate turnover. We will discuss. But what is the threshold limit? 20 lakhs. In case of the special category state, the limit is 10 lakh rupees. What is the meaning of special category state? We will read in the explanation. Further, it says that government can enhance the aggregate turnover on the request of a special category state from 10 lakh maximum 20 lakh. So let's say I'm a special category state, I can request the government kindly increase my turnover from 10 to 20. So they can approve. It means the special category state has the power to enhance that turnover from 10 to 20. That I'm talking about threshold limit. What is the meaning of aggregate turnover? Let's focus on this particular slide. All taxable supplies, all exempted supplies, all export, interstate having the same PAN. You know the concept of distinct person, same PAN, multiple GST number. If you are making the supply from one state to another state to your branches also, it is a supply, correct? So the aggregate turnover would include taxable supply, exempt supply, export, interstate, and very, very important, this will be computed on all India basis. Suppose I have the one business unit in Delhi and one business unit in Rajasthan. I have to calculate the aggregate turnover by taking the all sales of Delhi as well as Rajasthan. And also I will take the sales from Delhi to Rajasthan or vice versa. What we are doing? We are calculating the aggregate turnover. Now, in the calculation of aggregate turnover, taxes will never be included. Taxes will never be included. One more thing will not be included. Inward RCM. Inward reverse charge. What is that? Suppose I am receiving the services from advocate, I need to pay the tax under reverse charge. When you calculate my aggregate turnover, you will not add this particular supply, inward supply, on which I am paying the tax under reverse charge. What is the meaning of exempt supply? The exempt supply has been defined in the GST section 2 clause 47. It says that nil rated supply, exempted by notification, and third is non-taxable supply. Non-taxable supply, like supply of alcoholic liquor for human consumption, petrol, etc. It means, can I say, if I ask the question to all of you, will the supply of the petrol be added in the aggregate turnover? Answer would be yes. Why yes? Because petrol is non-taxable supplies. Petrol is non-taxable, and by virtue of that, it become exempted, and exempted would be added in the aggregate turnover. So will the petrol ka sale will be included in the aggregate turnover? Answer would become yes. Taxable supply, zero rated supply, because export is the zero rated, so it will be added in the turnover. It's saying all taxable supplies, all export, all interstate supply, all exempt supply, everything you will include. Everything you will include. What you will not include? One is taxes, CGST, SGST, IGST, compensation cess. Darshan, inward supply under forward charge, what does it mean? Because it is talking about outward supply. It is not talking about inward supply. If any outward supply is there on which you are paying the tax under forward charge, that will be added. It means your sales will be counted, not your purchase. Your sales will be counted, not your purchase. So we have discussed three things. what we have discussed, that basic threshold limit is 20 lakh rupees. In case of the special category state, limit is 10 lakh rupees. But the special category state have the power to enhance the limit from 10 to 20. Now, we need to see what all the states are there who has enhanced the aggregate turnover from 10 to 20. Okay. Now, the very important proviso. Now, this is very, okay. Please confirm this sentence. Please confirm this sentence. Yes or no? Is it possible or not possible? Please confirm. The sentence which is being written on the slide, is it possible? Yes, possible or not possible? Just one question to all of you. Is it possible or not possible? क्या सोचते हैं आप? क्या ऐसा हो सकता है या नहीं? कभी नहीं हो सकता. Just asking. Any possibility which you have, which you can think. Any possibility. Oh, maximum participant is saying yes. Is it possible that under one pen, multiple GSTN would have different aggregate turnover? The answer is not possible. Not possible. Not possible. Why not possible? Because you are calculating the turnover of Pan India. You are calculating the turnover of Pan India. It means if you have the business in 3 states, you will add all the 3 states. Then how it can be different? Whatever the turnover is for Delhi, same will be for Rajasthan, same for another state. Go back to the definition. Go back to the definition. The definition says that you will calculate all outward supply. You will calculate all outward supply and to be computed on all India. Then how it can be different? If you add every state ka turnover to calculate the aggregate turnover, how it can be different? It is not possible. It is not possible at all. State can be different, but some of the income, some of the total supply. So instead of income, I will use the word Bhumika. Your interpretation, your point is correct. But Aisha, you mean to say what is the meaning of distinct person? You are asking distinct person. One pen, multiple GSTN. I hope you have already discussed in the schedule 1 para 2. This point has already been covered in the schedule 1 para 2. What is the meaning of distinct person? क्या मतलब है डिस्टिंक्ट पर्सन का? डिस्टिंक्ट पर्सन क्लियर है ना सभी को? मेरा परमानेंट अकाउंट नंबर 1 है. मैं अगर दिल्ली में बिजनेस करता हूं, राजस्थान में बिजनेस करता हूं और कोई और स्टेट में बिजनेस करता हूं, आई हैव टू टेक सेपरेट जीएसटी नंबर. I have to take separate GST number, and those GST number would be called distinct person for each other. What is the meaning of distinct person? Suppose Arun is doing the business in Rajasthan, Arun is doing the business in Delhi, Arun is doing the business in Mumbai, Arun is doing the business in Karnataka. Can the PAN number would be different of Arun charged? No, the PAN number would remain same. But the GST number, is it possible to remain same? Is it possible to remain same? No, sir. The GST is the state-wise registration. So they are saying yes. If you have the one PAN but multiple GST number, then they will be called Rajasthan, Delhi, Mumbai, Karnataka. They will be called for each other. They will be called as a distinct person. Supply between them would be always taxable. Is it clear? they would be treated as same in case of the same means. Same means, what is the meaning of same? If we, so probably you are asking the whether they would have the same, the question which I have asked, they will have the person are same, PAN number are same. Now let's move, very important. Kiran, that is not the right question for the to be discussed today. मैं ये पॉइंट डिस्कशन नहीं कर सकता न्यू स्कीम का, मैं नहीं मालूम मुझे. So it is mean 1.1 aggregate turnover, 1.1 aggregate turnover. Yes, 1.1 aggregate turnover to be calculated on PAN based, not on GSTN based. So if it is PAN based, then it will definitely be same for all the GST. They would be considered in the aggregate turnover as well. Yes, Aisa, absolutely correct. Now, absolutely correct. Now, try to understand this. They are saying if you are exclusively engaged in the supply of goods, if you are exclusively engaged in the supply of the goods, then the limit can be enhanced from 20 to 40. See, they are talking about the special category state, they can enhance the limit from 10 to 20. Now they are talking about if you are exclusively engaged in the goods. What is the meaning of exclusively? Only. Exclusively engaged in the goods, it means you are only supplying the goods. Then limit can be enhanced from 20 to 40. But please note, this 40 ka limit would be applicable only for intrastate supply. We are going to cover in the section 24, and I will discuss section 24. The first provision talk about if you are making the interstate supply of the goods, you need to take mandatory registration. Meaning thereby, this proviso talks about from 20 to 40, but effectively it is possible only within the state. Only within the state. It cannot be possible from one state to another state. You are not required to take registration till 40 lakhs. No, sir. Because when I will discuss section 24, then the first provision says interstate taxable supply mandatory registration. Okay. Now, if I am making the supply of the goods plus supply of the services, what would be your answer? Limit would be 40 lakhs or limit would be 20 lakhs or mandatory registration. I'm talking about within the state. If I am making the supply of the goods as well as services within the state, what would be the limit? 40, 20 or 0? Darshan, we will discuss the list. The list is being given. We will discuss this list. Who has enhanced the threshold limit from 10 to 20 special category? My question is, if you are making the supply of the goods as well as services, will the limit be 20, 40 or 0? Answer would be, because I am not only engaged in the goods, therefore the limit would not 40, it will be 20. Suppose I am only supplying the services. I'm only supplying services. What would be the threshold limit? 20, 40 or mandatory? Bhumika, we are talking about within the state only. Bhumika, we are talking about within the state only. So the answer to the last question is 20 lakhs. Arya Chanchal, limit would be the last limit would be 20 lakhs in the last question. If because I am not engaged in the goods only, therefore the limit would be 20. Farha, only goods ka limit is 40. So I can say, let me draw only goods within the state limit would be 40. Goods plus services limit would be 20. Only services limit would be 20. Limit would be 20. Interstate, remember, limit would be 0. It means you have to take mandatory registration. Goods and services, because if you are supplying the goods, then it is mandatory. Services, the limit would be 20 lakhs. एक नया चार्ट बनाया आपके लिए. Please remember this chart. We are going to discuss all the things, but in between, because as per the question I'm asking, so I have made one chart. What would be the limit within the state? What would be the limit interstate? You know the interstate from one state to the another state. क्या मतलब होता है इंटरस्टेट का? मतलब एक स्टेट से दूसरे स्टेट को सप्लाई कर रहा हूं, या एक स्टेट से दूसरे यूटी को सप्लाई कर रहा हूं, और वाइस वर्सा. यहां तक क्लियर है? इज इट क्लियर टिल नाउ? Bhumika, I have already given. Only engage in the goods. Suppose I have the supply of the goods. I'm having the laptop shop. I'm supplying the laptop within Delhi. What would be the limit? 40. But what I'm doing, I'm supplying the laptop plus also I'm providing the repair services, AMC services. Then the limit would be 20 within the state. But suppose I'm supplying the interstate goods, the limit would be 0. You have to take mandatory registration on every before any supply. यहां तक क्लियर है? ये चार्ट क्लियर है सभी को? पहले कंफर्म करें. इज इट क्लियर? इज इट क्लियर टू ऑल? एक बार कंफर्म करें क्योंकि इंपॉर्टेंट चार्ट है. Any questions so far you can ask? So shall I move? Now the next point is any question? Let me see the question. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The last one is other services. Any services, but only services. सर आपने इंटरस्टेट के लिए 40 नहीं कहा था. हाँ, मैंने नहीं कहा था. अरे बेटा अभी प्रोवाइजो तो पढ़ाया मैंने. अच्छा मेरी मिस्टेक, मेरी गलती हो गई. ठीक है बेटा. Person engaged in interstate supplies, irrespective of state, does he have to take mandatory? Subham, your sentence is good, correct, if it is goods. But if it is only services, then not required to take mandatory. If it is services, we will discuss. Diksha, if interstate goods supply cross 20 within the 40, then it is not required to take registration? No, Diksha, not required to take registration. क्रॉस नहीं खुशी, आपको सी मुझे रजिस्ट्रेशन कब लेना है, खुशी समझिए एक बार क्लियर सर, कैन वी टेक रजिस्ट्रेशन वॉलंटरली? हाँ, मैं एक बार बात करता हूँ। सी देखो, एक प्रोविजन होता है आपको रजिस्ट्रेशन कब लेना है। सी if I like to take voluntarily at any point of time, I can take voluntarily registration. I do not have the turnover of like, I have only turnover of 1 lakh rupees. Can I go for the GST registration? Not problem. No problem, you can. But suppose when the law talking about you have to take mandatory registration, this point we are talking about. Sushil, if I am, first let me talk about only within the state. Only within the state. Then they are saying that if only within the state, then if the limit, if I'm supplying the only goods, any no services, only goods, the limit would be 40. Goods or services or only services, the limit would be 20. Intrastate. Enter, just because I have to make comparison, so I have made the comparison right now only. But this provision we are going to discuss subsequently. But if I am making the supply the goods from one state to another, no limit, you have to take mandatory registration. If I'm supplying only services, the limit of 20 lakh would be there. But if I am supplying goods as well as services, because you are supplying the goods, therefore it comes under mandatory registration. Is it clear, Sushil and everyone? Khushi, all the participants जिन्होंने मुझे confirm नहीं किया, so to those participants I'm asking, is it clear now? अब एक चीज बताइए, बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग थिंग है, बड़ी टफ है, लेकिन मैं इसको पार्ट पार्ट में एक्सप्लेन करता हूं. आई ट्राई टू एक्सप्लेन इन पार्ट. सपोज आई एम अर्निंग, सी आई एम आस्किंग इन जनरल सेंस, आई एम नॉट यूजिंग द एनी टेक्निकल टर्म. लेट्स से व्हाट इज द सप्लाई, व्हाट इज आउटवर्ड सप्लाई, व्हाट इज एग्रीगेट टर्नओवर. मेरी सेल्स है या मेरी परचेज है, मेरी इनकम है या मेरे एक्सपेंसेस है. हम जब सप्लाई की बात करते हैं, हम जब आउटवर्ड सप्लाई की बात करते हैं, जब हम टर्नओवर की बात करते हैं, इज इट सेल और इज इट एक्सपेंडिचर? इज इट सेल और इज इट एक्सपेंडिचर? नॉर्मल चीज आपसे बात कर रहा हूं, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट प्रोवाइजो डिस्कस कर रहा हूं. अगर मैं सेल्स की बात करता हूं, आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट, इफ आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट सप्लाई, आउटवर्ड सप्लाई, इज इट माई सेल्स और इज इट माई परचेज? अगर मैं आउटवर्ड सप्लाई की बात कर रहा हूं, मतलब मैं सेल्स की बात कर रहा हूं या परचेज की बात कर रहा हूं, इनकम की बात कर रहा हूं या एक्सपेंसेस की बात कर रहा हूं? इट इज सेल्स ओनली. एब्सोल्युटली करेक्ट. तो सब लोग आप अपनी पीठ थपथपाइए, यू हैव गिवन द करेक्ट आंसर. सेकंड पॉइंट, if I am receiving the interest income, point to be noted, confuse मत होना. If I am receiving the interest income, is it my outward supply or is it my inward supply? Is it my outward supply or is it my inward supply? I'm talking about income, interest income. Is it my outward supply or is it my inward supply? I'm talking about interest income. Is it my outward supply or is it my inward supply? Very important point I'm asking. अगर मैं इनकम की बात कर रहा हूं, इंटरेस्ट जो रिसीव हुआ, इज इट माई आउटवर्ड सप्लाई और इनवर्ड सप्लाई? गलत कर दिया आपने. Let's say income would be, let me again, can I say income would be my outward supply and expenses would be my inward supply? First confirm this thing. Income would be my outward supply, expenses would be my inward supply. हम आईटीसी किस पे लेते हैं सर? एक बात बताओ ना, हम आईटीसी किस पर लेते हैं? इनवर्ड सप्लाई पे लेते हैं ना, because we are paying the GST to supplier on inward supply. We are paying the GST on my inward supply, of which I am taking the ITC. So what is inward supply? Nothing but an expenditure. What is my outward supply? Nothing but as an income. It can be sales or it can be services. Right now. So by understanding the same logic, if I am receiving interest income, is it my outward supply or my inward supply? If I am receiving the interest income, is it my outward supply or my inward supply? Please confirm. क्या ये मेरी आउटवर्ड सप्लाई है या मेरी इनवर्ड सप्लाई है? एक बार कंफर्म करो. Please confirm once again. If I am receiving the interest income, suppose in my profit and loss account, I have the interest received, I have the interest paid. So what is this? Is it, this is my outward supply or inward supply? And what about the interest paid? Is it my outward supply or inward supply? एक बार confirm करो. Now you all are saying outward supply. Please write somewhere in the paper pen. Please write somewhere in the notebook or paper or anything which you are using. Please write somewhere interest received is my outward supply. Please write somewhere interest received is my outward supply. सुशील अभी भी गलती कर रहे हो. सुशील अभी भी गलती कर रहे हो. अभी तो हमने बात की that income is my outward. And now I am talking about interest received, which is income. So how it can be inward? Miduna, Miss Miduna M. Is it clear or any doubt? Interest received is my outward supply. I hope you have received, you have written somewhere. Now my next question. So what I have concluded, interest received is my outward supply. Why I am reading this? Because I have to explain one important proviso to all of you. Now please tell me, interest is a supply of the goods or supply of services? Because it has to be one thing now. So if I am receiving the interest income, you all have confirmed that it is outward supply. Interest received is outward supply. Now my next question, is it a supply of the goods or it is a supply of service? Yes, Aisa. Yes, absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. If I am receiving the interest income, is it a supply of the goods or is it a supply of service? You tell me. You all know that आप आराम से बता सकते हो अगर मैं इंटरेस्ट रिसीव कर रहा हूं, मैं गुड्स की सप्लाई कर रहा हूं या मैं सर्विस की सप्लाई कर रहा हूं. व्हाट इज दैट? ये तो बहुत इजी क्वेश्चन है. नाउ सुशील एब्सोल्युटली करेक्ट. वेरी नाइस. सो करेक्ट. देखो भी आप लोगों ने बिल्कुल करेक्ट कहा. कंफ्यूज मत करना, कंफ्यूज मत होना. We have concluded two things. Please write somewhere. Again, I'm saying interest received is outward supply. And second, interest is a supply of service. These two things you have confirmed. I'm just writing. ठीक है ना? एक बार confirm करो. Yes, sir. We are on the same page. We are clear with this particular sentence, with this particular phrase. अभी तक क्लियर है ना? अब आगे बढ़ते हैं. If I am making the supply of goods only, what is the limit within the state? Intra-state. I'm talking about within the state. What is the threshold limit for taking the registration? If I am making the supply of the only goods, then what is the threshold limit? अगर मैं सिर्फ गुड्स की सप्लाई कर रहा हूं तो लिमिट कितनी है बच्चा? कितनी लिमिट है? मुझे कब रजिस्ट्रेशन लेना? व्हेन आई नीड टू टेक रजिस्ट्रेशन। बहुत बढ़िया। ₹40 lakhs. 40 lakhs. Absolutely correct. If I am doing the goods as well as services, what is the limit? If I'm doing the goods as well as services, then what is the limit? If I am making the supply the goods and services, what is the limit? अगर मैं गुड्स की एंड सर्विसेज की सप्लाई कर रहा हूं तो लिमिट कितनी होगी? लिमिट कितनी होगी? मैंडेटरी रजिस्ट्रेशन, वॉलंटरी मैंडेटरी, 10 लाख, 20 लाख, 40 लाख, कुछ तो आंसर करो। अगर मेरी सप्लाई ऑफ द गुड्स एज वेल एज सप्लाई द सर्विसेज है तो लिमिट कितनी होगी? एब्सोल्युटली करेक्ट, 20 lakhs. हियर आई एम राइटिंग वन एक्सेप्शन, जस्ट सिर्फ इतना लिख रहा हूं, वन एक्सेप्शन। सिर्फ मैंने इतना लिखा, वन एक्सेप्शन, भूल जाओ एक बार। नाउ लेट्स से मिस्टर ए is making the supply of laptop. You have to give the answer. Mr. A is making the supply of the laptop. What is the nature of the this supply? Is it a goods or services? Is it a goods or services? Is it a goods or services? He is only doing the supply of the laptop. Is it a goods or services? Is it a goods or services? Plus also receiving the interest income on fixed deposit. What is the nature of this transaction? Supply of the goods or supply of services? What is the nature of this transaction? Interest income on fixed deposit. Is it a service or goods? Is it a goods or services? Interest income. Is it a goods or services? Interest income on the fixed deposit. चलो, अभी सब लोग ने कहा ये सर्विस है. So normally, I'm using the word normally. Therefore, I can say Mr. A is basically supplying the goods as well as services. Can I say that Mr. Goods is engaged in the supply of the goods as well as supply of services? यहां तक agree कर रहे हैं? Do you agree with this? I can say that Mr. A is engaged in the goods as well as services. Can I say this sentence? Can I say this word? A is basically engaged in the supply of the goods as well as supply of services. Can I say this? Can I say this or not? He is receiving the interest income, which is service. He is making the supply the laptop, which is goods. So basically, I can say Mr. A is supplying the goods as well as services. For the time being, I am yet to explain the proviso. Can I say this? He is engaged in the supply of the goods and services? The answer is yes. So normally the limit would be 40 or limit would be 20. क्या लिमिट होनी चाहिए, 40 या 20? इस केस में लिमिट क्या होनी चाहिए? थ्रेशोल्ड लिमिट क्या होनी चाहिए? Mahadev, we are not required to see the, we are for deciding the threshold limit. Are they supplying the? No sir, his prime. अरे नहीं महादेव, यहाँ पे हम बात कंपोजिट और मिक्स सप्लाई की थोड़ी कर रहे हैं. यहाँ पे बात हम कंपोजिट और मिक्स सप्लाई की थोड़ी कर रहे हैं. So the answer would be 20 lakh. Ideally, answer would be 20 lakh, but this they have covered in the proviso. This they have covered in the proviso. What is the proviso? Proviso says that you are supplying, you are exclusively engaged in the goods, but you are also receiving the interest income. Then it will be treated. It will be treated that you are still supplying the goods and limit would be 40 lakhs. ये सिर्फ एकमात्र एक exception है. What is the exception? Let's read the proviso. The proviso says, not the proviso, explanation. For the explanation to this proviso, a person shall be considered to be engaged exclusively in the goods, even if he is engaged in the exempt supply, because interest, long-term loan or advances, this will be exempt other than credit card. So if you see the exemption notification, there is an exemption notification 12/2017, and there is a serial number 27 which talks about interest is exempted supply of service. Interest is exempted, but we know that we are adding the exempt income in the calculation of aggregate turnover. हम लोग add करते हैं ना? Are we adding or not? Are we adding or not in the exempted supply? अगर मेरी कोई exempt income है, are we adding in the calculation of aggregate turnover? Answer would be yes. We are adding. We have discussed now, sir. Let me highlight once again. Let me highlight once again. Even though it is an exempt supply, but for the calculation of aggregate turnover, we have to add the exempt supply in the aggregate turnover. We have to add the exempt supply in the aggregate turnover. So in this case, the limit would be remain 40. Remain 40. Is it clear? See why I have written this exception. मैंने यहाँ पे ये exception क्यों लिखा था? Is it clear? Why I have written this exception? Because if you are receiving interest, otherwise you are exclusively engaged in the goods, then it will be treated that you are only goods and the limit would be 40 lakhs. Clear हुआ? कितना इस एक छोटी सी एक्सप्लेनेशन को समझाने के लिए कितना घुमाना पड़ा मेरे को. There is some percentage. परसेंटेज का मतलब क्या भाई साहब? नहीं समझ में आया. एक बार मुझे कंफर्म करो या आपने डाउट लिखो. What is the meaning of percentage? There is some percentage. What is the meaning of percentage? What is the link or relevance of this question? मैं समझा नहीं क्वेश्चन किस सेंस में आप पूछ रहे हैं. एक बार कंफर्म करें क्लियर है या नहीं है सभी लोगों को. जो भी डाउट है पूछिए मेरे से, क्योंकि मेरे को ऐसा लगता है ये प्रोवाइजो थोड़ा सा टफ है. थोड़ा सा टफ था एक्सप्लेनेशन, बट आई होप इट इज क्लियर नाउ. अगर अभी भी डाउट है प्लीज आस्क. आई एम ओके टू एक्सप्लेन वंस अगेन. Some percentage of the goods can be yes services. No, there is no percentage. If I'm making the supply, the service is rupees 10 only, then my limit would be reduced to 20 lakhs. हर सर्विस को सर्विस की कैटेगरी मिलेंगे, हर सर्विस को सर्विस की कैटेगरी मिलेंगे। सिर्फ एक चीज को छोड़ा है, इंटरेस्ट इनकम, इसको एक्सक्लूड किया है, जो कि एग्जेम्प्टेड है, उसको एक्सक्लूड किया है कि अगर ये रिसीव भी हो रही है तब भी आपकी लिमिट 40 रहेगी। हाँ खुशी जैन, यस यस, पिछले वाले क्वेश्चन में लिमिट 40 नहीं, 20 नहीं, 40 हो जाएगी। दीक्षिता, ये कहाँ पढ़ा था हमने, ऐसा कहाँ पढ़ा? एक बार वापस जाना इस स्लाइड पर, ये हमने कैसे पढ़ लिया, ये हमने कहाँ पढ़ा? ओनली गुड्स 40 lakhs, ओनली गुड्स 40 lakh। हाँ, here they will include one thing, goods or goods plus interest, that will also be treated as 40 lakhs। आगे बढ़ते हैं, ठीक है ना। all type of interest will be exempt there except credit card, except credit card। so interest long term loan, और जो long term loan और advance पर interest रिसीव होता है वो exempt है, other than credit card। इंटरेस्ट पेड तो इनवर्ड होगा ना बेटा, interest paid would be inward and we are calculating outward supplies, so in the outward supply the interest received would be considered, not the paid। ऐसा इंटरेस्ट, सो फाइन। एक चीज और पूछता हूं, will the interest be added in the aggregate turnover? Will the interest be added in the aggregate turnover? Will the limit be 20 lakhs or 40 lakhs? Please confirm two questions, question number 1 and question number 2. This question number 2 we have already discussed, the limit would be remain 40 lakhs if I am receiving the interest, otherwise I am exclusively engaged in the goods। तो लिमिट आपकी 40 है, क्या इसको ऐड करना है एग्रीगेट टर्नओवर में या नहीं? शुड आई ऐड और नॉट? Vishwanath Reddy, are you there? Vishwanath Reddy, Mr. Vishwanath Reddy, are you there? So all are correct. It will be added in the aggregate turnover. Almost all are correct. 1 or 2 participants are saying no. Why they are saying no? Why they are saying no? Please see once again. Please see once again. Interest is exempted from GST if it is long-term loan or advances. Are we adding the exempt supply in the aggregate turnover? Answer is yes, we are adding. So the interest would be added in the aggregate turnover, 100% yes. Only because of one explanation, only because of this explanation, they are saying that limit would be 40, not 20. If you are receiving the interest plus only goods, then you will be considered that you are supplying only goods. Limit would be 40. अब मैं मूव कर रहा हूं आगे. Now I am moving further. So now we have spent too much time. We have spent too much time. Now let me move further. Section 22, it says that if you are registered in the pre-GST regime, let's say service tax, excise duty, custom, VAT, CST, in any other law prior to the GST, then you have to take registration in the GST. Next point, that if the business is being transferred, the business is being transferred on account of succession or otherwise. Otherwise means in case of the death of the proprietor. So in case of the death of the proprietor, like his son is continuing that business, it is also one shot of the succession. So if A has transferred the business to B, either A is expired and his son is continuing that business, or there is an amalgamation, merger, demerger, etc. In that case, new entity, new company has to take mandatory registration irrespective of any threshold limit. So we have discussed 4 subsection. Let me repeat once again. First, that if my limit exceed the threshold limit, I have to take registration. 10, 20, 40, we have discussed all the combination. Second, if I am registered in the pre-GST era, because let's say service tax, I have to take registration in the GST. Subsection 3 and subsection 4 says that if the business is being transferred either on going concern basis, by way of succession, otherwise means death of the proprietor is in continuing that business, amalgamation, demerger, etc., then the new entity has to take the registration with effect from the date on which ROC issue the certificate giving effect of such order of the High Court or Tribunal. Is it clear till now? Is it clear? Now the next point is Vaishali, why interest only in service? See, service is everything. Beta, service is everything. But they are giving relaxation only for interest. They are giving the relaxation only for interest because every person will receive the interest. हर पर्सन का इंटरेस्ट तो आता ही आता है, किसी न किसी का तो फिक्स डिपॉजिट, करंट अकाउंट, सेविंग अकाउंट, कुछ ना कुछ तो अकाउंट होगा, इंटरेस्ट तो आएगा ही आएगा. तो अगर इंटरेस्ट को एक्सक्लूड नहीं किया ना, if the interest is not being excluded, then what happen? There will be no person who are having the benefit of the 40 lakhs. कोई भी पर्सन नहीं होगा जिसको 40 लाख का लिमिट एप्लीकेबल होगा, हर कोई 20 में आ जाएगा. That is the reason they have given the relaxation only for interest. देखो, see, point number 4 में डाउट लग रहा है. So, in case of the transfer pursuant to the scheme or an arrangement for amalgamation or as the may be demerger of the 2 or more company pursuant to the order. See, when you are giving the means doing the amalgamation, merger, demerger, etc., then there would be the order required, High Court, Tribunal, or otherwise. Correct? There would be the pursuant to the order of the. So you need to follow the procedure of the particular Companies Act. Then you will have to take the registration from the date on which ROC issue the certificate of incorporation. What is the meaning of next question is aggregate turnover? Sorry. Pointed day. It means July 1, 2017. The day when the GST was introduced. और क्या question है? So, right. That's subsection 2, subsection 3, subsection 4. There is no threshold limit. There is no threshold limit. किसान समझ में आया ना? मतलब कोई अगर मैंने अमालगमेशन किया, डीमर्जर किया, ठीक है, कंपनी को डिवाइड किया, अमालगमेट किया किसी दूसरी कंपनी के साथ में, तो क्या रजिस्ट्रेशन लेना है नई एंटिटी को? आंसर इज यस. दे हैव टू टेक रजिस्ट्रेशन विदाउट लुकिंग एनी थ्रेशोल्ड लिमिट. सिद्धि ऑलरेडी एक्सप्लेन कर चुका. मैं बिजनेस कर रहा हूं दिल्ली में, और मैं अगर बिजनेस स्टार्ट करता हूं यूपी में, तो मेरा पैन नंबर तो सेम है, बट मेरा जीएसटी नंबर अलग अलग होगा, राइट? तो सेम पैन का मतलब उस पर्टिकुलर पैन नंबर में कितने भी स्टेट में टर्नओवर है उसको ऐड करेंगे इन द कैलकुलेशन ऑफ एग्रीगेट टर्नओवर. So as per the provision, where a business carried on by a taxable person. Bilal, Mr. Bilal, you have asked very good question. You are saying that if father is having the turnover below the threshold limit and he has not taken the registration, then it means he is having the turnover below the threshold limit. So it means he is not the taxable person. And therefore, his son is not like to take mandatory registration. Because if he is having the threshold more than 20 lakhs or 40 lakh as the case may be, then he will be considered as a taxable person. Answer clear हुआ आपको? Voluntarily anytime open है. Voluntarily anytime open है. You can take the registration at any point of time. If I'm, can I take a registration even if I'm Ritik? In case of the proprietor, if my turnover exceed 20, 40, 10, as the case may be, I have to take registration in the against my PAN number only. On the death of the proprietor, who is the turnover less than the threshold limit, still his son. Sir, already answered. Subham, the word is written taxable person. Subham, you are asking the same question which Muhammad Bilal is asked. The word taxable person is written. What is the meaning of taxable person? A person who is registered in the GST or liable to take registration in the GST. If the turnover below 20 lakhs, then his father is not the taxable person. In that case, this provision would not be applicable on his son and no requirement to take registration by his son. Is it clear? शुभम मोहम्मद सिंह, शुभम, यस सर, गॉट इट. प्रियकांत, स्पेशल कैटेगरी स्टेट होगा सबसे, सभी को भी नहीं, ऐसा एक्सक्लूड क्यों होगा भाई प्रियकांत? व्हाई इट इज एक्सक्लूडेड टू द स्पेशल कैटेगरी स्टेट? जितने भी प्रोविजन हो सभी स्टेट के लिए एप्लीकेबल, खाली टर्नओवर की लिमिट सबसेक्शन 1 में हमने अलग अलग पढ़ी. अभी कोई पॉइंट पेंडिंग नहीं है ना, क्योंकि बहुत हम स्लो चल रहे हैं. लेट मी मूव फर्दर. नाउ aggregate turnover shall include all supplies made by the taxable person, whether on his own account or on behalf of the principal. See, in the GST, we will discuss two types of the principal. In the GST, we will discuss two types of the principal. One is principal and agent. One is principal and job worker. One is principal and agent. Explanation 1 says that in the aggregate turnover, we will add all the supplies made by the taxable person, whether on his own account or on behalf of the principal. It will be added in the aggregate turnover. Second, they are saying, in case of the job work, the supply of the goods after completion of the job work shall be treated as supply the goods by the principal, not of the job worker. Agar मैं job work करूं, let's say I am doing the stitching work. Mr. A is a principal. He has sent the goods to me for stitching. I have returned the goods after stitching. This returning the goods, will it be added in my sale? Will it be counted as my supply? Explanation 2 says no, it will not be counted. The special category state means the state which is being mentioned except Jammu and Kashmir, Arunachal, Assam, Himachal, Meghalaya, Sikkim and Uttarakhand. So it means I have made one chart for all of you that what is the meaning of special category state. Now these 4 states are special category state. Why these has been excluded? Because they have lifted their turnover from 10 to 20. So आज की तारीख में how many special category state are there? Manipur, Nagaland, Mizoram and Tripura. After the job work, it will be counted the turnover of my principal. But in case of the principal and agent, if the agent is also making certain supply, then it will be added in the aggregate turnover of agent. Again, one important notification. For this, exclusively engage in the goods for 40 lakhs. They are saying the limit of the 40 lakhs. Limit of 40 lakh would not be applicable in below 4 cases. कब किस केस में applicable नहीं होगा? Person required to take compulsory registration as per section 24. We are going to discuss. Second, the goods, if it is ice cream, edible ice, whether or not containing cocaine, pan masala and tobacco and the manufactured tobacco substitute. If one is engaged in these goods, then the limit of 20 lakh would be there, not the 40 lakhs. Third, if they are making the intra-state supply in these states, Arunachal, Uttarakhand, Meghalaya, Sikkim, Telangana, Puducherry and special category state, Nagaland, Mizoram, Manipur and Tripura, then again limit would not be applicable of 40 lakhs. Person who has taken the voluntarily registration, then the limit would not be applicable of 40 lakhs. So these, I can say small, I can say the deviation is small exception, that when the limit would not be 40. So we have already discussed it should be exclusively engaged in the goods, but they are saying if one is covered by the voluntary registration, then no limit would be applicable. If one has taken the voluntary registration, then again 40 lakh limit would not be applicable for certain goods and for certain state. The limit of 40 would not be applicable. Vaishali, that particular sale would be counted in which PAN number? किस पैन नंबर में वो सेल काउंट कर रहे हैं? फादर अपने पैन नंबर में काउंट कर रहा है या बेटा अपने पैन नंबर में काउंट कर रहा है? Depending upon that, not required to take registration. If only handling the income will be counted in the father's PAN number, then it will not be required. Certain more item has been added, like fly ash bricks, fossil mill bricks, and roofing tiles. So what are the item on which the limit of the 40 lakh would not be applicable. Ice cream, other edible ice, pan masala, tobacco, we have already discussed. These items were added. Fly ash bricks and earthen or roofing tiles, etc. ये याद कर लेना. And because after that the confusion is being created for which state the 40 lakh would be there, for which state the 20 lakh would be there, which state 10 lakh would be there. This chart I have taken from the institute only. Institute का जो study material है वहीं से मैंने ये chart लिया. So please read this chart carefully. See, if you are exclusively engaged in the goods, ideally the limit should be 40 lakhs, correct? But Puducherry, Telangana, limit 40 not be there. Why not be there? Because just now we have discussed one notification. Correct. Manipur, Nagaland, and Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland, Tripura, limit of 10 would be there because these 4 special category states have not enhanced the threshold from 10 to 20. Jammu, Kashmir, Assam, etc. The limit would be 40 because they have enhanced the threshold limit. Again, here why 20 is there? Because these are covered in the notification. ये आपको याद करना पड़ेगा. Now let's move to the section 24. ये थोड़ा confusion create हो गया होगा because of that notification. What is the notification? Let me tell you in short. As per the notification, the limit of the 40 lakh would not be applicable. There are 4 situations: voluntary registration, mandatory registration, and for certain goods and for certain state. So for those states, if they are special category, then limit of 10 lakh would be there. If they are special category, then limit of the 10 lakh would be there, like Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland, and Tripura. And for other state, the 20 lakh would be there, like Pondicherry, Telangana, Arunachal Pradesh, Meghalaya, Sikkim, etc. ठीक है? क्लियर हुआ? Is it clear? याद करना पड़ेगा वो एक अलग बात है, बट कॉन्सेप्ट क्लियर हुआ? कॉन्सेप्चुअली क्लियर है या कोई डाउट है? मुझे बता दीजिए आप. आर यू क्लियर और यू आर हैविंग सम डाउट? आपको याद करना पड़ेगा, दैट इज ओके, बट क्लैरिटी है या नहीं है? Because so many provision we have discussed, so might be there is a slight confusion among all, but you have to revise again, then it will clear probably. अगर conceptually कोई doubt है तो please ask. Conceptually किसी को doubt है तो ask, please ask. Otherwise kindly confirm that it's clear. ठीक है, concept clear है. Very nice. Thank you. Thank you बच्चा. अभी हम आगे बढ़ते हैं. Now section 24. Please see this word, notwithstanding anything contained in 22(1). It means section 24 ignore the threshold limit. Ignore the threshold limit. First person making interstate taxable supply. Now, whether it is written of goods, no, it is not written the goods. It is not written the goods. See, here I will explain one important point. Section 24 has to be read with all the notification which is being issued under 23(2). एक better interlink बता रहा हूं, interlinking बता रहा हूं, एक बार देखिएगा. Section 24 has to be read with all the notification which is being issued by using the power of 23(2). Why I am saying so? If I read the first clause, it appears that if I am making the interstate supply, whether it is goods or services, I have to take mandatory registration. देखो, अगर मैं क्लॉज 1 रीड करता हूं तो मुझे ऐसा ही लगता है कि यहाँ पे गुड्स और सर्विसेज स्पेसिफिक नहीं का मतलब दोनों कवर है. इट मींस both are covered. But just now I have told you one thing. एक चार्ट हमने देखा था ना, एंड इस चार्ट में मैंने क्या कहा आपको? इस चार्ट में तो मैंने सिर्फ गुड्स की बात की, बट ओनली सर्विसेज आई एम सेइंग स्टिल 20 lakh. Only services I'm still saying 20 lakh. Interstate services 20 lakh. But as per the section 24, it appears that it is covered both, whether it is goods or services. Answer is yes. Ideally, section 24 is talking about goods and services both. But what I told you, that section 24 has to be read along with the notification which is being issued in 23(2). क्यों सर ऐसा मैं क्यों बोल रहा हूं? Because there is multiple notification. The one notification, I'm talking about one notification, they are saying if you are making interstate supply of services, then the limit would be 20. You are not required to take mandatory registration. Section 24 has to be read with notification issued by the government. If I will combine this notification for this clause 1, I can say now the clause 1 is only for goods. ठीक है, तो कंक्लूजन क्या हुआ? If you are making interstate supply of the goods, you have to take mandatory registration as per section 24. If you are making only supply of the services, you are relaxed till 20 lakhs. 20 लाख तक आपको रजिस्ट्रेशन नहीं लेना है, irrespective, मतलब भले ही आप इंटरस्टेट सप्लाई करो. Why? Because there is a notification. 10/2017, then 65. We will discuss 60. अभी एक बार आप नोटिफिकेशन 10/2017 याद रखिए. Is it clear? अच्छा, अरे wait. There is a confusion that how Assam, but not more than 20. See, read the explanation. Very good question, शुभम बहुत बढ़िया क्वेश्चन पूछा आपका. देखो आप है ना देखो इस डेफिनेशन को देखो. क्या आसाम आज की तारीख में स्पेशल कैटेगरी स्टेट है? फॉर सेक्शन 22 they have excluded Assam, Arunachal, Kashmir, Himachal, Meghalaya. It means they can have the limit of the 40 lakhs. They can have the limit of the 40 lakhs. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? जो भी अब स्पेशल कैटेगरी स्टेट है, 4 स्टेट मणिपुर, मिजोरम, नागालैंड, इनका 10 लाख होगा, बाकी सभी का 40 हो सकता है. बट 20 क्यों है? why there is a 20? Because of this notification which we have discussed. अरुणाचल, उत्तराखंड, मेघालय, सिक्किम, तेलंगाना, पुडुचेरी एंड दीज आर 4 स्टेट. यहां के लिए 40 नहीं होगा. सो फॉर दीज इट वुड बी 10 एंड फॉर रेस्ट इट वुड बी 20. आगे बढ़ते हैं. डिफरेंस क्या है सेक्शन 22 में 24 में? एक बार कंप्लीट होने देता ईशान, एक बार कंप्लीट कर लें पहले 24, उसके बाद में समझ में आ जाएगा डिफरेंस. Not required, Darshan, you are not required to remember the notification. Even you are not required to remember the section also. Conceptual clarity होनी चाहिए, that's it. वाई मेघालय इज 20। एक बार वो चेक करना नोटिफिकेशन यार, उस नोटिफिकेशन में मेघालय का नाम लिखा होगा प्रोबेबली। उत्तराखंड मेघालय लिखा हुआ है ना, सी दिस नेम, इसीलिए 20 है, ठीक है ना। एवरीथिंग इज क्लियर, बेसिक बिहाइंड द सेक्शन, व्हाट इज द बेसिक बिहाइंड द, ठीक है। अब आगे बढ़ते हैं, आगे बढ़ते हैं, ठीक है। एक चीज ध्यान रखना, सपोज आई एम हैविंग द बिजनेस इन लेट्स से मणिपुर, ठीक है, एंड आई एम हैविंग द बिजनेस इन लेट्स से दिल्ली, बिकॉज मणिपुर का लिमिट 10 लाख है एंड दिल्ली का लिमिट 40 लाख है, ठीक है। सो इफ आई एम डूइंग द बिजनेस, सॉरी ये पॉइंट एक्सप्लेन नहीं कर रहा हूं मैं, पॉइंट आपको एक्सप्लेन कर रहा हूं। इफ आई एम डूइंग द बिजनेस इन एनी ऑफ द स्पेशल कैटेगरी स्टेट, देन माय टोटल थ्रेशोल्ड लिमिट वुड बी रिड्यूस टू दैट स्टेट। तो मेरी लिमिट कितनी हो जाएगी, 10 लाख रुपए हो जाएगी इंस्टेड ऑफ, भाई विच एवर इज लोअर है ना। मैं अगर मणिपुर में भी बिजनेस कर रहा हूँ और दिल्ली में भी बिजनेस कर रहा हूँ, तो लिमिट कितनी है, दिल्ली की 40 और उसकी 10। तो मुझे जैसी मेरी अगर टर्नओवर 10 से एक्सीड करेगी, मुझे रजिस्ट्रेशन लेना पड़ेगा। सी, casual taxable person making the taxable supply. So what is the meaning of casual taxable person? Try to understand. We will use two terms, casual taxable person and non-resident taxable person. ठीक है, दो टर्म हम बात करेंगे। See, what is the casual taxable person? Suppose I am registered in Maharashtra. Suppose I'm registered in Maharashtra because I'm making the supply from Maharashtra only. But now, let's say there is a trade fair in Calcutta, in Kolkata, or let's say in Delhi, in any state. I am coming from Maharashtra to Calcutta. From where? From that Kolkata, I am making the taxable supplies. From that state, I am making the taxable supplies. But I do not have any fixed establishment in that state. Let me repeat once again. So I am coming from Maharashtra to Kolkata for participating in the trade fair. And from West Bengal, I am making the taxable supplies. But I does not have any fixed establishment. मेरा कोई fixed establishment नहीं है वहां पर. Then in that case, the concept of casual taxable person will come into the picture. They are saying, I need to take registration under the category of casual taxable person category. मुझे कैजुअल टैक्सेबल पर्सन की कैटेगरी में रजिस्ट्रेशन लेना होगा. कहां पर? वेस्ट बंगाल में. It is valid initially for 90 days. It can be further extended maximum for 90 days. So maximum period is 180 days. Let's say I like to take registration only for 10 days. Possible. You can take registration only for 10 days also, 5 days also. Your choice. The benefit of the casual taxable person, you are not required to have any fixed establishment. You are not required to have any fixed establishment. And it is valid for limited period. Because I am doing the business from any other state, so I have to take registration. One thing is very, very clear. In section 22, subsection 1, what we have discussed, this important term, from where. कौन से स्टेट में रजिस्ट्रेशन लेना है? उस स्टेट में जहां से मैं टैक्सेबल सप्लाई कर रहा हूं. The state from where I am making the taxable supply. In this example, I am coming from Maharashtra to West Bengal. Then I am making the supply from West Bengal. I have to take a registration. That is clear. Now, the only situation that instead of the regular category, I can go for casual taxable person category. Why I should go for casual taxable person category? Because one is I do not have the fixed establishment, and second, it is valid for limited period. यहां तक क्लियर है? एक बार कंफर्म करो मुझे क्विकली, एक बार कंफर्म करो, यहां तक क्लियर है ना? Can ITC be claimed in the case of casual? Yes, answer is yes. We have discussed in 17.5. वहां पे कहीं मना नहीं था, तो मिल जाएगा ITC. Only taxable supply is considered, not other supply. Not other supply मतलब exempt supply नहीं consider करना. Not other means मतलब क्या? Taxable नहीं मतलब exempt है, तो वो चलेगा. यहां तक क्लियर है? मैं मूव करता हूं नेक्स्ट. अब यहां पर भी सेक्शन 23(2) का नोटिफिकेशन आपको रीड करना पड़ेगा. मैं शॉर्ट में बता रहा हूं, वी विल डिस्कस इन डिटेल. If casual taxable person is making the supply of handicraft goods, if casual taxable person is making the supply of handicraft goods, then not required to take registration till 20 lakh, 10 lakh, whatever the case may be. But in this case, e-way bill, so that you should be remember always that whenever we are reading section 24, it should always be read with the notification which is being issued in 23(2). ये आपको सेक्शन का नंबर, नोटिफिकेशन का नंबर याद करने की रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं है, जस्ट कॉन्सेप्ट याद रखना बहुत है. कब कैजुअल टैक्सेबल पर्सन को रजिस्ट्रेशन की रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं है? इफ इज एंगेज इन द हैंडीक्राफ्ट गुड्स, देन नॉट रिक्वायर्ड टू टेक मैंडेटरी टिल 20 or 10 as the case may be. He is not required to take registration, but one thing become compulsory, that he has to generate e-way bill for the movement of handicraft goods. एक टर्म हमने पढ़ा था नॉन एनआरटीपी. ये क्या है? Non-resident taxable person. What is that? It is almost equal to the CTP, casual taxable person. If any person belongs to out of India, he's a non-resident coming to India, and from India he like to make the taxable supply, but he does not have any fixed establishment. See, non-resident taxable person and casual taxable person almost all same. Okay. What is the difference? The casual taxable is an Indian resident person, correct? But non-resident belongs to out of India, coming to India for temporary purpose, and in that time period he like to make a taxable supplies. They are saying because they do not have the fixed establishment and the period is limited, so they can go for this category, NRTP category, because it is valid only for 90 days maximum, and further if they want they can again extend for 90 days. They can further extend for 90 more days, correct? So this is another option. They can take the registration, but they have to take registration, without which they cannot make the taxable supply. एक बार section 24 में वापस आते हैं. In the section 24 we have discussed that person making interstate taxable supply we have already discussed. Casual taxable person we have discussed, and now we have discussed non-resident taxable person. आगे बढ़े. आपका कोई भी क्वेश्चन है आप पैरेलली आप पूछते रहना क्वेश्चन. A person required to pay the tax under reverse charge. person required to pay the tax under reverse charge? Reverse charge is being payable on outward supply or inward supply? रिवर्स चार्ज आपको किस पे करना, आउटवर्ड पे कि इनवर्ड पे? रिवर्स चार्ज इज नॉट इन योर सिलेबस ना, अभी आपका ये इंटर में नहीं है ना. चलेगा. Reverse charge is on inward supply. Absolutely correct. So if suppose I am my aggregate turnover exceed not exceeding 20 40 10, मेरा जो aggregate turnover है 10 20 40 exceed नहीं कर रहा, not exceeding, so basically I'm not required to take registration as per 22. But suppose I'm receiving certain services, I'm not taking the name, certain services, in that RCM is applicable, so I have to take mandatory registration if I have received any services on which RCM is applicable. Now there is multiple permutation combinations that will only be explained when you read the RCM chapter, which is in the final syllabus. So as of now, this is only one line item. If inward supply, let's say you are corporate, okay, body corporate company, your turnover is only 5 lakh. So as per the threshold limit section 22, you are not required to take registration. But suppose you have received the let's say GTS services, transportation services, on which RCM is applicable, so you need to take registration mandatorily. Why? Because of outward supply? No sir, because of this clause 3, inward supply RCM is applicable, and therefore this body corporate need to take mandatory registration. Now let me explain only one line, because it is not again in your syllabus. What is the section 51 and what is the section 52? See, first understand what is the section 51. Only in short, because detail is not in your syllabus. If any person making the supply to the government, like central government, state government, local authority, PSU, public sector undertaking, etc., other than government, is making the supply to the government and it is more than 2.5 lakhs per contract. It is more than 2.5 lakhs. Then section 51 says that if that value of the taxable supply is more than 2.5 lakh, then government has to take the registration under the TDS category. Government has to take the registration under the TDS category for the purpose of deduction of the TDS under GST. So what the government will do? Government will deduct the 2% GST TDS. I am not talking about income tax TDS. So this government will deduct 2% GST TDS and then balance amount will remain. For deduction of this GST TDS, they have to take mandatory registration under section 51 under TDS category. Similarly, there is a section 52. What is the section 52? It is the TCS under GST. Let's say Mr. A is making the supply to Mr. B, but through Amazon, Flipkart. Who is supplier? A is a supplier. Who is a customer? B is a customer. Supply is being made through e-commerce operator. Then according to this provision, the Amazon has to take mandatory registration under the TCS category. What will happen? The supply made by A to B through this platform liable to collect the TCS at the rate of 1%. The purpose of TDS and TCS is only to ensure that proper tax is being paid by the supplier. Proper tax is being paid by the supplier. Okay. What is the TCS under GST? It is applicable to the e-commerce operator. Now, Section 52 is for e-commerce operator other than 9. See, I am only telling you these things only for your understanding, but not relevant from exam point of view. What is the 52? What is the 51? What is the reverse chart? And now what is the 9 subsection 5? You are not required to. But अगर मैं आपको explain नहीं करूंगा ना, तो आपको ये section 24 समझ में नहीं आएगा. ठीक है? So only I am going into the detail so that you should have the clarity on the section 24. आपको इन provision को नहीं पढ़ना होगा. अगर एक देखो क्या है 9.5 का एक आम बोलचाल की भाषा में हम इसको बोलते हैं डीम्ड सप्लायर. 9.5 की केस में सेक्शन 52 एप्लीकेबल नहीं होता, नॉट एप्लीकेबल. क्या होता है? अगर कोई सर्विस, इफ एनी सर्विस हैज बीन सप्लाइड थ्रू ई कॉमर्स ऑपरेटर और उस सर्विस का नाम नोटिफाइड है, कौन कौन से सर्विस? ट्रांसपोर्टेशन ऑफ पैसेंजर, होटल अकोमोडेशन, स्मॉल कारपेंटिंग प्लम्बिंग सर्विसेज, and last is restaurant. Zomato. Correct. In the 4 situation, Ola, Uber, Oyo, Make My Trip, Urban Club, and Swiggy, Zomato, only in this 4 category of service transaction, this e-commerce operator has to take mandatory registration as a regular taxpayer. मतलब सपोज आज मेरा रेस्टोरेंट है, ठीक है, मैं अगर सप्लाई जोमेटो के थ्रू करता हूं तो इसमें टैक्स कौन पे करेगा? मैं या जोमेटो? जोमेटो टैक्स पे करेगा. क्यों? ये इस 9.5 के कारण इसमें जोमेटो को डीम्ड सप्लायर बना दिया. ध्यान रखना, ये सिर्फ सर्विस के लिए, गुड्स के लिए नहीं है. तो जो ट्रांजेक्शन 9.5 में है, उन ई कॉमर्स ऑपरेटर को, 9.5 मतलब ई कॉमर्स ऑपरेटर है, उन ई कॉमर्स ऑपरेटर को यह कहा गया कि आपको रेगुलर कैटेगरी में रजिस्ट्रेशन लेना अनिवार्य है और आपके केस में टीसीएस वाले प्रोविजन एप्लीकेबल नहीं होंगे. एक बार जो मैं लाइन पढ़ना चाहता हूं, मैं आपको एक बार पढ़ूं. देखो, पहला पॉइंट मैंने आपको एक्सप्लेन किया, पर्सन हु आर रिक्वायर्ड टू पे द टैक्स अंडर सेक्शन 9 सबसेक्शन 5 लाइक दीज: ओला, उबर, ओयो रूम, मेक माई ट्रिप, अर्बन क्लैब, स्विगी, जोमेटो. देन सेकंड चीज पढ़ो, every e-commerce operator who is required to collect the TCS under section 52 like Amazon, Flipkart. ठीक है, ये दोनों पॉइंट क्लियर हुए? एक बार मुझे बताओ. We have covered this point also. करेक्ट, सेक्शन 51 वाला. और एक बार मैं वापस रिपीट करूं, हमने ये पॉइंट कवर कर लिया, कैजुअल टैक्सेबल कवर कर लिया, उसके बाद मैं आरसीएम कवर कर लिया, 9.5 कवर कर लिया, नॉन रेसिडेंट कवर कर लिया, सेक्शन 51 कवर कर लिया. अब नेक्स्ट पेज में क्या कवर कर लिया हमने? व्हाट वी हैव कवर्ड? वी हैव कवर्ड ओनली दिस पर्टिकुलर प्रोविजन. यहां तक क्लियर है? बाकी पॉइंट अभी एक्सप्लेन करूंगा मैं. इज इट क्लियर टिल नाउ? काफी टाइम से मैंने आपसे पूछा नहीं है। NRTP has to take registration for 90 मैक्सिमम 90 डेज है। बहुत सारे क्वेश्चन, आप आराम से क्वेश्चन पूछिए, आप आराम से क्वेश्चन पूछिए। लेट्स टेक ए ब्रेक ऑफ, अभी आज ब्रेक नहीं लेंगे सर, आज ब्रेक नहीं लेंगे, आज अपने पास में टाइट चैप्टर है, इट्स वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, वी विल नॉट टेक द ब्रेक। ठीक है, आज हम ब्रेक नहीं लेंगे, क्योंकि आज हमारे पास मैं सेक्शन 24 कंप्लीट करना बहुत जरूरी है मुझे। एनआरटीपी मैक्सिमम 90 प्लस 90, सीटीपी में सप्लाई द गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज बोथ इंक्लूड है, एंड इंटर इंट्रा सब कुछ इंक्लूड है, एवरीथिंग इज बीइंग इंक्लूडेड। NRTP has to take registration, yes, clear. If a person not registered means suppose his supply is 1 lakh, he is not allowed to charge tax on the goods, or he is allowed but not under obligation to pay. ना 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 ना, क्या बात कर रहे हो, वो टैक्स तो ले ही नहीं सकता जब तक वो रजिस्टर्ड नहीं है ना बच्चा, तब तक वो टैक्स ले ही नहीं सकता। अगर मैं जीएसटी में रजिस्टर्ड हूं तभी मैं टैक्स लगा सकता हूं, अदरवाइज मैं ले ही नहीं सकता। Manisha sir, in whole section 24 taxable supplies word is used, does it mean that exempt supply is not? हाँ हाँ, अभी आप सेक्शन 23 पढ़ेंगे ना तो अभी समझ में आ जाएगा व्हाई दे आर यूजिंग द वर्ड टैक्सेबल, बिकॉज एग्जेम्प्ट में अगर कोई डील करता है ना, ठीक है ना, तो ओनली एग्जेम्प्ट में डील करता है ना, तो सेक्शन 23 कहता है कि उसे रजिस्ट्रेशन लेने की रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं है, इररिस्पेक्टिव ऑफ एनी टर्न। अभी मुझे बहुत कम लोगों ने कंफर्म किया है, मुझे सभी लोग कंफर्म करें बेटा, तभी मैं आगे बढ़ूंगा। इतने पार्टिसिपेंट है, उसमें सिर्फ मुझे 8-10 लोगों ने कंफर्म किया है। व्हाट अबाउट अदर्स, इज इट क्लियर और नॉट क्लियर? थोड़ा सा स्पीड आपको ज्यादा लग सकता है, लेकिन ये इसीलिए जरूरी है, एक तो अपना कवरेज ज्यादा है, और मैं कुछ वो चीजें भी आपको एक्सप्लेन कर रहा हूं जो चीजें शायद आपके सिलेबस में नहीं है, बट एक्सप्लेन करना जरूरी है, सो दैट यू विल हैव द क्लैरिटी ऑफ सेक्शन 24। नहीं नहीं, ऐसा महाराष्ट्र में तो वो रेगुलर रजिस्टर्ड है ही है, वो जिस स्टेट में जा रहा है, जहां से वो सप्लाई कर रहा है, उस स्टेट में उसको कैजुअल टैक्सेबल लेना पड़ेगा। इन माई एग्जाम्पल, Mr. A was registered in Maharashtra under regular category, he is going to West Bengal, then he has to take registration in West Bengal. Let's say he is also going to Delhi for in Pragati Maidan Trade Fair, तब उसे सीटीपी की केस में दिल्ली में भी रजिस्ट्रेशन लेना पड़ेगा। Due to without tax, he will get particular goods at a cheaper price than of the customer is buying from registered. नहीं नहीं नहीं, क्योंकि रजिस्टर्ड के केस में भी क्या होता है, उसको आईटीसी मिल जाता है। See, if the customer, suppose I am registered in the GST and I am purchasing from unregistered or registered, prima facie it is not important, it is not, it is immaterial because ITC is there. अभी पहुंचा ही नहीं ना वर्षा, क्लॉज 11 तक तो पहुंचा ही नहीं मैं अभी तक, मैं एक्सप्लेन करूंगा अभी। चलो सर आगे बढ़ते हैं। now in case of the principal and agent, if agent is making the taxable supplies on behalf of the principal, he has to take mandatory registration. And you remember in the section 22 we had read, the explanation says that if the agent is making the supply on behalf of another person, it will be counted the supply of agent only. What is the concept of ISD? See, there is a concept of head office to branches. HO is availing, taking certain services for the benefit of the branches. Okay. There are 3 branches and HO is taking certain services. Let's say audit service. He has appointed a statutory auditor, and statutory auditor is doing the audit of every branches, every location. Auditor is raising the bill to the head office. Then head office will distribute the credit to the branches. What is the concept of ISD? We will discuss in final, in detail. But only in short, I'm explaining that ISD is basically the concept of distribution of ITC on account of service only. Such input service which is to be distributed by HO, then for this distribution, head office has to take registration under ISD category. What is the ISD? ISD is the mechanism to distribute the taxes to the branches. ISD is the mechanism to distribute the credit to the branches. Okay. Then what is this 9 number point? A is making the supply through Amazon to Mr. B. I'm talking about goods only. For example, currently I'm talking about goods. Why not I'm talking about services? Because the services, again by section 23(2), one notification has been issued. They are saying till 20 lakh, you are not required to take registration. I am explaining point number 9. What is the point number 9? A is supplying the goods through e-commerce operator to Mr. B. A is supplying the goods to Mr. B but through ECO. Then A has to take mandatory registration. Why I am talking about the goods? Why not services? But because goods and services both are written in the section 24. Because services has been relaxed from mandatory, that you need to take registration in the services only when it will exceed 10 or 20 as the case may be. ये जो e-commerce operator है, इसके लिए कौन सा प्रोविजन अप्लाई किया? He has to take registration under TCS category, section 52. A has to take registration under regular category. ठीक है. Now, what is clause 11? OIDAR category. What is clause 11? OIDAR. Online Information Database Access Retrieval. Example, let's say Facebook. Example, let's say Google. These companies who are located out of India and they are providing the service to Indian person who is not registered. Let's say I'm a student and I have made one website. I have purchased the domain from the GoDaddy. मैंने किससे परचेस किया डोमेन? GoDaddy से. GoDaddy is company located out of India. Company located out of India. I have taken the service of domain, purchased the domain. In that case, clause 11 says such OIDAR company has to take compulsory registration in GST, Indian GST. Government has fixed the location of Bangalore for all such OIDAR. Centralized registration in GST, OIDAR is covered under the concept of centralized registration. All such OIDAR who are located out of India but providing the service in India to unregistered person, liability to pay the taxes is shifted to OIDAR. They will take the registration under regular category and the location is being fixed as a Bangalore. They are talking about OIDAR if located out of India, providing the service in India to unregistered person who will liable to pay the tax. Such OIDAR, they have to take mandatory registration. But what happen if they will provide the service to the registered person? it will be covered under reverse charge. Is it clear? Or please confirm. So we have covered particular this point, principal agent, ISD, this, and this also. Such other as may be notified. So it will be notified in the future. So as of now, it is completed from my side, section 24. Any doubt, please ask again. Today, we are going to have the fire round of the question answer. Last 10 to 15 minutes, I will ask multiple question. You have to give the answer. ध्यान रखना, last 10-15 मिनट हम लोग थोड़ा समय बचा रहे हैं लास्ट 10-15 मिनट के लिए, so that I can ask the quick round of the question answer. कोई डाउट है तो पूछिए. सर सेक्शन 52 वैशाली क्लियर है ना? Is the exemption for registration only given for अभी मोहम्मद अभी सेक्शन 23 में ना उन नोटिफिकेशन की बात कर लेंगे हैंडीक्राफ्ट गुड्स वाली. We will talk about that handicraft goods. अभी जस्ट अपना इस स्लाइड में कवर हो जाएगा, नेक्स्ट स्लाइड में कवर हो जाएगा, सेक्शन 23 में कवर हो जाएगा. हाँ, ईसीओ को रजिस्ट्रेशन मैंडेटरी है. तीन बात की, अगर ईसीओ 95 में कवर है लाइक ओला, उबर, ओयो रूम, अर्बन क्लैप और स्विगी जोमेटो, दे हैव टू टेक मैंडेटरी रजिस्ट्रेशन अंडर रेगुलर कैटेगरी. दूसरा बात हमने किया सेक्शन 52, जहां पे वो एक मीडिएटर का काम करता है, मतलब जहां पे लाइक अमेजॉन, फ्लिपकार्ट, ठीक है, वो मीडिएटर का काम करते हैं, तो उनको रजिस्ट्रेशन लेना पड़ेगा, बट नॉट अंडर नॉर्मल कैटेगरी, दे विल टेक अंडर टीसीएस कैटेगरी, सेक्शन 52. तीसरा हमने बात किया, अगर कोई पर्सन सप्लाई करता है गुड्स की थ्रू ई कॉमर्स ऑपरेटर, देन दैट पर्सन हैज टू टेक मैंडेटरी रजिस्ट्रेशन. ब्रीफ में बताओ, कोई दिक्कत नहीं बेटा. सेक्शन 51 क्या है? अगर कोई गवर्नमेंट को सप्लाई करता है मोर देन 2.5 लाख, तो गवर्नमेंट को टीडीएस डिडक्ट करना है. गवर्नमेंट को टीडीएस डिडक्ट करना है एट द रेट ऑफ 2%. अब वो डिडक्ट करके पे कैसे करेगी? तो उनको बोला गया कि आप टीडीएस वाला रजिस्ट्रेशन लो जीएसटी में. What is the case of subscription service to the news article from foreign journal? पूरा केस बनाओ ऐसा, कौन सप्लायर है, कौन रिसिपिएंट है. इट इज नॉट ओइडा, इट इज नॉट ओइडा सर्विसेज, ठीक है, तो ये नॉर्मल कैटेगरी में कवर होगा. सो जनरल फॉरेनर की, फॉरेन कंपनी की है, मैं रिसिपिएंट हूं अंडर, मतलब आप ये कह रहे हो कि देखो ये ओइडार तो नहीं है, तो फॉरेन जर्नल के ऊपर लाइबिलिटी नहीं है टैक्स पे करने की. अगर मैं लेने वाला रिसिपिएंट रजिस्टर्ड हूं तो मैं टैक्स पे करूंगा अंडर आरसीएम, अगर अनरजिस्टर्ड हूं तो कोई टैक्स नहीं जाएगा. ई सब्सक्रिप्शन, अब आप कह रहे हैं ई सब्सक्रिप्शन, ओके ई सब्सक्रिप्शन है, सो इट विल कम अंडर ओइडा. सो ये बाकी है ना, बहुत परमुटेशन कॉम्बिनेशन है जो अपन फाइनल में पढ़ेंगे. लेकिन लेट से कि ये अगर ओइडा है, ऑनलाइन इंफॉर्मेशन डेटाबेस है, तो अगर मैं रजिस्टर्ड हूं मैं टैक्स पे करूंगा अंडर आरसीएम. अनरजिस्टर्ड है तो फॉरेन कंपनी रजिस्टर्ड होगी जीएसटी में बैंगलोर लोकेशन. प्रियकांत इज सेइंग इफ ए पर्सन नॉट लायबल टू रजिस्टर, और वो किसी और स्टेट में जाता है एज ए कैजुअल टैक्सेबल पर्सन, तो मैंडेटरी लेना पड़ेगा. जी हाँ, बिल्कुल से लेना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि कैजुअल टैक्सेबल पर्सन मैंडेटरी में कवर है. ठीक है, चलो 5 मिनट का क्विक ब्रेक लेते हैं, जस्ट 5 मिनट का. वी विल रिज्यूम एट 7:55. मनीष जी, मनीष जी आप हैं, आर यू देयर? मनीष जी, मनीष जी 5 मिनट का ब्रेक स्टार्ट कर दीजिए. ठीक है, सो वी हैव कंप्लीटेड सेक्शन, वी हैव कंप्लीट, आवाज आ रही है सर आपकी? वी हैव कंप्लीटेड सेक्शन 24. If okay, there is a 1-2 question. Let me. Darshan is saying TDS TCS issue idea in the final level, sir. Definitely yes, final. Subham, please answer my query. I am really troubled about this point. I am a final consumer and purchasing the goods from unregistered less. Should I pay the tax of not? Then should I pay the tax of not? No. Answer is no. If not, then goods will be cheaper for me. You are. If you are final consumer, then obviously it will be cheaper, comparatively cheaper if you purchase from unregistered. But there may be the point that whether unregistered has also purchased from unregistered. See, try to understand this point. मैं एक बार एक query लेता हूं. So let's say Subham has purchased the goods from unregistered. So he is an unregistered supplier. Then he is asking whether the goods would be cheaper or not. This answer would depend upon his chain also. Let's say he has purchased from registered or he has purchased from unregistered. If he is purchased from registered, then obviously he will charge the GST. He will charge the GST. And this unregistered would not be able to take ITC. So it will be added in the cost. So let's say he is purchased from registered at ₹100 and he has paid the taxes of 18. तो अनरजिस्टर्ड पर्सन के लिए कॉस्ट कितनी होगी? 180. तो इसके ऊपर मार्जिन ऐड करके इसको सेल करेगा. तो अल्टीमेटली जो इसकी सेलिंग प्राइस होगी वो कंपेरेटिवली हायर होगी इंस्टेड ऑफ रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन, क्योंकि उसकी कॉस्टिंग ज्यादा है. माइट बी इट कैन बी चीपर, बट इट डिपेंड अपॉन कहां से ये परचेज कर रहा है. क्या वो अनरजिस्टर्ड से परचेज कर रहा है? इस अनरजिस्टर्ड ने किसने परचेज किया? अनरजिस्टर्ड से. तब जाके ये चेन में इसके लिए कॉस्ट कम होगी. बट अगर ये रजिस्टर्ड से खरीद रहा है या इसकी कोई पीछे वाली चेन कोई रजिस्टर्ड से खरीद रही है, उस केस में क्या है, इसकी कॉस्टिंग टैक्स है ना, इसके लिए कॉस्ट बन जाएगा, उसके ऊपर ये मार्जिन ऐड करेगा. तो बहुत स्लाइट डिफरेंस होगा, ज्यादा डिफरेंस नहीं होगा, ये मेरा कहना है. एनी काउंटर क्वेश्चन? रिवर्स चार्ज में कोई लिमिट नहीं है वैशाली, रिवर्स चार्ज में कोई लिमिट नहीं है. ठीक है, आगे बढ़ो. शुभम एक बार कंफर्म करना. सेक्शन 23. What in case of the composition dealer, composite supplier? क्वेश्चन क्या आपका? कंपोजिट सप्लायर तो आईटीसी ले ही नहीं सकता ना. एमआरपी ऑलवेज इंक्लूसिव जीएसटी. यस, ठीक है. ऐसा कंपोजिट डीलर आईटीसी नहीं ले सकता, तो वो जब भी सप्लाई करेगा तो हो सकता है कि वो उसके लिए भी वो सेम वाली बात जो मैंने कही थी, वो अनरजिस्टर्ड से खरीदे या रजिस्टर्ड से खरीदे, उसके लिए आईटीसी कॉस्ट का पार्ट बन जाएगा और उसके ऊपर वो मार्जिन ऐड करेगा. तो बहुत ज्यादा डिफरेंस नहीं होगा, बट हाँ हो सकता है थोड़ा बहुत डिफरेंस हो सकता है. If a composite dealer whether is supplying to registered or unregistered doesn't matter, because उसे टैक्स तो कलेक्ट करना नहीं है, तो जितना रेट वो रजिस्टर्ड से चार्ज करेगा उतना ही वो अनरजिस्टर्ड से चार्ज करेगा. ठीक है ना. वैशाली, इन ई कॉमर्स लाइक अमेजन फ्लिपकार्ट में गुड सप्लाई बाय देम 40 लाख का लिमिट और सर्विस बाय देम इज आल्सो इंक्लूडेड इन 40 लाख एंड द टैक्स. In e-commerce like Amazon Flipkart में goods supply by them 40 lakhs limit or service by them also included in 40 lakh limit and tax payable by whom? बड़ा मिक्स कर दिया आपने क्वेश्चन. कोई दिक्कत नहीं, मैं एक बार क्विकली रिवर्ट करता हूं. सबसे पहले अगर मैं गुड्स की बात करता हूं, A is making the supply of the goods to be through Amazon या Flipkart. ठीक है, तो ए को मैंडेटरी रजिस्ट्रेशन लेना है, कोई लिमिट नहीं है, ना 40 की ना 20 की, कुछ भी लिमिट नहीं है. यहां पे ई कॉमर्स ऑपरेटर को रजिस्ट्रेशन लेना पड़ेगा अंडर टीसीएस कैटेगरी सेक्शन 52. गुड्स के रिगार्ड में कोई पॉइंट है तो मुझे बताएं, सेपरेट करके बताइए मुझे, सेपरेट पॉइंट करके। गुड्स के रिगार्ड में कोई डाउट है तो बताएं। अब बात करता हूं मैं सर्विस की। अगर मैं सर्विस की बात करता हूं तो इसमें आप सर्विस में 4 सर्विस को आप अलग कर दो। कौन कौन सी सर्विस? कैब वाली, ठीक है, होटल वाली, और स्मॉल कारपेंटिंग प्लम्बिंग अर्बन क्लब वाली, और जोमेटो वाली, स्विगी जोमेटो वाली। इन 4 को अलग कर दो, क्योंकि इस 4 में ई कॉमर्स ऑपरेटर himself would be liable for registration. Other than that service, other services, let's say A is a chartered accountant making the supply through e-commerce operator to client Mr. B, let's say, और एडवोकेट है या कोई भी है, मतलब अब आप कहोगे सर कि हमारे एथिक्स अलाउ नहीं करते, लेट्स टेक एनी अदर सर्विसेज। A is providing the consultancy services through e-commerce operator to Mr. B. Then what happened? That such ECO will be covered under section 52, liable to take mandatory registration. ठीक है, A के लिए लिमिट है 20 लाख की। A का टर्नओवर अगर 20 लाख से ज्यादा होता है तभी रजिस्ट्रेशन लेना है, अदरवाइज नहीं लेना। मैंने गुड्स और सर्विस दोनों कंफर्म कर दिया। एक बार मुझे आप अपने क्वेश्चन है सेपरेटली करके बताओ। Section 24 is a non-obstant clause to 20(1), so there will be no limit. No, हाँ, कोई लिमिट नहीं है, कोई लिमिट नहीं है, apart from the notification which is being issued in 23(2), क्योंकि notwithstanding 22 है, 23 notwithstanding नहीं है, तो 23 में जो नोटिफिकेशन इशू किए गए हैं ना, तो उसके लिए लिमिट एप्लीकेबल होगी। तो वो नोटिफिकेशन की देखनी पड़ेगी। अभी हम 1 by 1 बात करेंगे उसकी। इज दैट ओके? सो अब मैं क्विकली आता हूं सेक्शन 23। अगर आप इफ यू आर एक्सक्लूसिवली engage in supply of the goods or services which are not liable to tax or are wholly exempt from tax. Agar let's say Mr. A is making the supply of either goods or services which are exempted, irrespective of any limit, irrespective of any aggregate turnover, not required to take registration. Point number 1. Point number 2, if there is any agriculturist who is making the supply out of the cultivation of land, मतलब खेती बाड़ी करके जो चीजें सेल करता है, उसके लिए एग्जेम्पशन है। लेट्स से टुमारो ही इज डूइंग द स्टॉक ब्रीडिंग, डेयरी फार्मिंग, तो डेयरी फार्मिंग के लिए एग्रीकल्चरिस्ट को एग्जेम्प्ट नहीं है। अगर वो टैक्सेबल, सी इफ इज कवर्ड इन द क्लॉज ए, अगर वो सप्लाई एग्जेम्प्टेड है तब तो कोई इशू नहीं है, इररिस्पेक्टिव ऑफ एनी टर्नओवर इज नॉट रिक्वायर्ड टू टेक रजिस्ट्रेशन। लेट्स से वो सप्लाई टैक्सेबल है, वो पर्टिकुलर जो डेयरी फार्मिंग मान ले कर रहा है, वो ट्रांजेक्शन टैक्सेबल है, तो उसे रजिस्ट्रेशन लेना पड़ेगा। वी हैव डिस्कस्ड 2 पॉइंट। द पॉइंट नंबर 1, exclusively not liable to tax like alcoholic liquor for human consumption, not leviable to tax. पेट्रोल नॉट लेवेबल टू टैक्स। सपोज एक पेट्रोल पंप है, वो सिर्फ पेट्रोल की सप्लाई कर रहा है, क्या उसे रजिस्ट्रेशन लेना है? नहीं लेना। बट क्वेश्चन ये आता है, बट सारे पेट्रोल पंप तो रजिस्टर्ड है, ऐसा क्यों? क्योंकि साथ में वो क्या करते हैं, लुब्रिकेंट ऑयल सेल करते हैं। अगर कोई पेट्रोल पंप लुब्रिकेंट ऑयल सेल कर रहा है, दैट इज ए टैक्सेबल सप्लाईज। What we are saying that exclusively not liable to tax, मतलब अगर मैं जो सप्लाई कर रहा हूं not leviable to tax और वही सप्लाई कर रहा हूं, तब रजिस्ट्रेशन की रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं है। बट अगर मैं टैक्सेबल प्लस नॉन टैक्सेबल दोनों सप्लाई कर रहा हूं, तो मेरे को रजिस्ट्रेशन लेना पड़ेगा अगर टर्नओवर एक्सीड कर गई थ्रेशोल्ड लिमिट जो भी दी गई है। Similarly, if the agriculture is there who is supplying out of the cultivation of land, not required to take registration. अब मैं जब बार बार आपको कह रहा था, आई एम रिपीटिंग अगेन एंड अगेन, 23(2) के नोटिफिकेशन की बात कर रहा था। इन द 23(2) गवर्नमेंट हैज द पावर टू इशू द नोटिफिकेशन। पहला नोटिस, लेट्स से आई एम एडवोकेट, आई एम प्रोवाइडिंग द सप्लाई ऑफ सर्विसेज टू business entity or something, any company और जो भी है, and they are paying the tax under reverse charge. they have to take mandatory registration by virtue of the section 24(3). Government, by using the power of 23(2), they have issued this notification that advocate who are only making the supply which are liable to be under reverse charge, means they will not pay the tax, the recipient will pay the tax. In that case, the supplier of RCM is relaxed from registration, irrespective of any threshold limit. Next is handicraft goods. Person making interstate taxable supplies of notified handicraft goods up to rupees 20 lakhs. So as we have seen earlier that as per section 24, read with notification 10, if a person making the interstate supply of the goods is liable to take registration. Mr. Muhammad has asked the question, sir, what happens if it is intrastate supply? Sir, in case of the intrastate, we already have the limit of the 40 lakh or some state 20 lakhs. We already have the limit of 40-20. तो इंट्रा में तो वैसे भी नहीं लेना पड़ेगा registration. Now the question is, if inter, then as per section 24 clause 1, you need to take mandatory. But they are saying, if you are making the notified category of the handicraft goods, not required to take registration till 20 lakhs. But in that case, so what they are saying, the person making interstate supply the handicraft goods and person making interstate taxable supply the notified product when made by the craftsman predominantly by hand, even though sub machine may also be used in the process. तो इन दो कैटेगरी को इन्होंने exempt किया है till 20 lakhs. Condition to be fulfilled that it would be 20 or 10 as the case may be, and has generated an e-way bill. जो मैंने आपको पहले कहा था कि ई-वे बिल मैंडेटरी है इनको मूवमेंट के लिए. Next, the same situation, the same relaxation has been extended to the casual taxable person. Again, section 24 clause 2, we have discussed that casual taxable person need to take mandatory registration, right? But again, they are not required to take registration if they are dealing in the notified handicraft goods, or they are doing the supply of the notified product, which are predominantly made by hand by the craftsman. Again, this particular interstate supply of the handicraft goods or the notified goods, this relaxation is available to the normal people also as well as casual people also. What is the mandate requirement? Same mandate requirement is that they have to generate the e-way bill. अभी मेरी तरफ से आज का डिस्कशन कंप्लीट हो गया क्योंकि मुझे क्विक राउंड ऑफ द क्वेश्चन आंसर करना है, इसीलिए मैं आज का डिस्कशन यहीं पे कंप्लीट कर रहा हूं. ओवर टू यू फॉर 2 minutes टू आस्किंग एनी क्वेश्चन एंड देन आई विल स्टार्ट माय क्विक राउंड द क्वेश्चन. Sir, if Amazon is taking registration under TCS and paying the tax, why supplier also नहीं? वो टैक्स पूरा नहीं पे कर रहा, वो सिर्फ 1% काट के पे कर रहा है. See, Amazon is only collecting 1% as a TCS. See, Arun is making the supply of the goods which are taxable at 28%. Arun is making the supply to Subham, 28%. So I will raise the tax invoice. You will be the recipient. I will pay the tax 28%. In between, Amazon will also collect 1% TCS from my value. What will happen? So he will also file the GST return. I will also file the GST return. It will cross match only. The only point that they will only pay 1%. Small amount रखा 1% ताकि transaction government के नजर में आ जाए. So that if I will think to evade the taxes, which is not possible because it will be disclosed by the Amazon. That is the only reason. Subham clear है, confirm करना, otherwise ask the counter question. Everyone can ask the question if it is not clear any point. मैं 8:15 से लेके 8:30 तक क्विक राउंड का क्वेश्चन आंसर करूंगा आपके साथ. फायर राउंड ऑफ द क्वेश्चन आंसर. एनआरटीपी प्रोवाइडिंग हैंडीक्राफ्ट गुड्स आर ऑल्सो, नहीं, एनआरटीपी के लिए रिलैक्सेशन नहीं है ना, सिर्फ एक तो क्लॉज 1 के लिए दी और दूसरी क्लॉज 2 के लिए दी है। इंक्लूड एग्जेम्पशन टू सेक्शन 24, नो, यस यस। 23 सबसेक्शन 2 की बात कर रहा हूं, 23 सबसेक्शन 2 की बात कर रहा हूं। आयसा, व्हाट अबाउट द नोटिफिकेशन 10/2017? क्वेश्चन क्या आपका? ऐसा क्वेश्चन क्या आपका, मैं समझा नहीं, क्वेश्चन किस सेंस में है? तो 4 सिचुएशन बात करता है जहां पे लिमिट 40 लाख की नहीं होगी, वॉलंटरी, मैंडेटरी, और कुछ स्टेट के लिए और कुछ प्रोडक्ट के लिए। किसके साथ लिंक कर रहे हो, किसके साथ लिंक करके ये क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हो? ठीक है, 1 मिनट, लास्ट 1 मिनट बचा हुआ है। आप लोग कोई भी क्वेश्चन पूछना चाहते हैं क्वेश्चन पूछिए, अदरवाइज आई विल स्टार्ट द क्विक राउंड ऑफ द क्वेश्चन। जो भी मेरे माइंड में रैंडमली आएगा ना, मैं वो क्वेश्चन पूछूंगा। ऐसा नहीं है कि कोई मेरा प्रीफिक्स किया हुआ, नहीं, नथिंग, नथिंग प्रीफिक्स, सिंपली जो भी मेरे माइंड में आएगा ना, आई विल आस्क दैट क्वेश्चन। चलो सर स्टार्ट करते हैं, ठीक है। फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन, वेदर नॉन टैक्सेबल सप्लाई विल बी इंक्लूडेड इन द एग्जाम सप्लाई और नॉट? Whether non-taxable supplies will be added in the exempt supply or not? वैसा होता ना तो फिर वो कैजुअल टैक्सेबल पर्सन के लिए सेपरेट इशू करने की रिक्वायरमेंट ही नहीं थी ना। अगर मैं आपके पॉइंट को मानता हूं तो देन व्हाई दे हैव गिवन द सेम थिंग फॉर कैजुअल टैक्सेबल पर्सन सेपरेटली? करेक्ट। सो इस पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से मेरे हिसाब से एनआरटीपी के लिए इंक्लूडेड। विल my question was whether non-taxable supply is added in the exempt supply. Answer is yes. We have discussed that if business is being transferred by a मतलब succession or otherwise, तो otherwise में क्या include है? अदरवाइज में क्या इंक्लूड है? हमने ये बात की थी सेक्शन 22 में कि भाई इट विल बी मतलब बाय ट्रांसफर्ड बाय द सक्सेशन और अदरवाइज, तो अदरवाइज में क्या चीज इंक्लूड है? एक एग्जांपल मैंने आपको बताया था। यस, एब्सोल्युटली करेक्ट, यू आर गिवन द राइट आंसर। आंसर इज, आंसर इज डेथ ऑफ द प्रोप्राइटर। करेक्ट। आंसर इज डेथ ऑफ द प्रोप्राइटर। ठीक है। एग्रीगेट टर्नओवर में क्या चीज इंक्लूड नहीं करते? एग्रीगेट टर्नओवर में क्या चीज इंक्लूड नहीं करते? व्हाट वी आर नॉट इंक्लूडिंग इन द एग्रीगेट टर्नओवर? What we are not including in the aggregate turnover? मजा आ रहा है ना पढ़ाई करके? यू आर एंजॉइंग द डिस्कशन ना? जो भी अपना क्लास में चल रहा है, जैसे जिस तरीके से क्लास चली, यू ऑल आर एंजॉइंग द क्लास ना? एग्रीगेट टर्नओवर में क्या चीज इंक्लूड नहीं करते? क्या चीज इंक्लूड नहीं करते एग्रीगेट टर्नओवर में? लास्ट क्वेश्चन का जवाब था डेथ ऑफ द प्रोपराइटर, वो सक्सेशन और अदरवाइज में कवर्ड है। क्या चीज हम है ना एग्रीगेट टर्नओवर में हम इंक्लूड नहीं करते? क्या बात है। ठीक है, तो सब लोगों ने सही जवाब दिया है, सब लोगों ने सही जवाब दिया है। एक तो जीएसटी इंक्लूड नहीं करते और एक आरसीएम इंक्लूड नहीं करते। हाँ कविता, आपका आंसर आ रहा है मेरे पास। यस यस, आई एम रिसीविंग योर आंसर। कविता लमसाल, जीएसटी कंपनसेशन सेस और इनवर्ड आरसीएम इंक्लूड नहीं करेंगे। अगर मैं कंप्लीटली आउटवर्ड सप्लाई करता हूं, कंप्लीटली आउटवर्ड सप्लाई करता हूं विच इज कवर्ड अंडर रिवर्स चार्ज, will it be added in my aggregate turnover? If my outward supply is completely reverse charge, will it be added in my aggregate turnover? Will it be added in my aggregate turnover? Answer is yes, it will be added in the aggregate turnover. Let's say the total value of the outward supplies given by the supplier is 21 lakh, on which the recipient is paying the tax under RCM. Listen my question carefully. If the supplier is making the supply of 21 lakh, on which recipient is paying the tax under RCM, do the supplier has to take registration because it exceeds threshold limit? ऐड तो होगा आउटवर्ड सप्लाई कवर्ड अंडर आरसीएम। अब दूसरा क्वेश्चन है आपसे, नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन है, क्या उस सप्लायर को रजिस्ट्रेशन लेना अनिवार्य है, मैंडेटरी है, बिकॉज इट एक्सीड थ्रेशोल्ड लिमिट? Yes, answer is no, sir. For outward RCM, he is not required to take a registration. My question was on the supplier. My question was not for the recipient. Correct? So supplier, if his outward supply covered under reverse charge, then he is not required to take registration, but recipient has to take mandatory registration. If OIDAR provide the service to which person, then he is liable to take mandatory registration. Supplier of service is located out of India. Nature of service is OIDAR. Then please tell me when they need to take mandatory registration. उन्हें mandatory registration कब लेना है? When OIDAR provide the service to which person, then the OIDAR located out of India need to take mandatory registration in the GST. The answer is unregistered person. Absolutely correct. Can you please tell me on which situation e-commerce operator, in which situation e-commerce operator is not required to take TCS registration, rather they need to take compulsory registration? टीसीएस कैटेगरी में रजिस्ट्रेशन नहीं लेना पड़ेगा ई कॉमर्स को, रेदर दे हैव टू टेक रेगुलर कैटेगरी ऑफ रजिस्ट्रेशन। इन विच कैटेगरी? In which situation the e-commerce operator need to take registration under regular category instead of TCS category? Under section 9(5), like Oyo, Ola, Uber, Urban Clap, you all have given the right answer. Under 9(5), they need to take regular category of registration. We have discussed one category of the registration in which government needs to take a registration. What was the concept of that registration? What was the concept of that registration? एक registration हमने government के लिए भी पढ़ा था. What was that? TDS category. Right answer is TDS. Can you please tell me what are the state who are special category state as per section 22? सेक्शन 22 के अकॉर्डिंग कौन कौन से स्टेट स्पेशल कैटेगरी स्टेट है? कौन कौन से स्टेट स्पेशल कैटेगरी स्टेट है? Excellent. Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland, Tripura. The last question, please give the answer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Please give the answer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the last question. 1 के लिए क्या है? 20, 40, 10 mandatory. The option are 10, 20, 40 or mandatory. Kindly give the answer for all the 6 questions. Option are 10, 20, 40 or mandatory. Give the answer 1 कितना, 2 कितना, 3 कितना, 4 कितना, 5 कितना, 6 कितना. This is the last question. अब आप लोग आंसर करते रहो, एक का कितना, दो का, और माय गॉड ग्रेट यार, माय गॉड ऑल हैव गिवन द आंसर. वाओ, व्हाट इज द आंसर? द आंसर इज इन फ्रंट ऑफ यू. Answer is in front of you. 40 lakh mandatory, 20 lakh mandatory, 20 lakh, 20 lakhs. Thank you very much for your active participation. From my side, today class is completed. Whatever you have the question, we will discuss in the next class. Next class would be on Wednesday. We'll complete the registration chapter. Thank you very much. Once again, good night. Manish ji.